Greetings and welcome to the pre-departure orientation for travel safety and emergency preparedness for students. My name is Alexis Santi. I'm the coordinator of travel safety for the university. My main points are that 1, you're ready for this experience to travel abroad. 2, I'd like to give you some of the basics. 3, provide you some more complex information. And 4, provide you with my email so that if you have any questions, I hope you will contact me. First of all, travel safety is a bit of a contradiction, especially here at Cornell. Many of you are experienced and seasoned travelers and may have even lived abroad. So how do we talk about travel safety? How do we frame it in this context? Much of this might be review, and the last thing that you want is to hear from me. However, with travel safety, it's always good to review. And chances are, some of what I express may actually be useful for you, not only to familiarize yourself with Cornell University procedures, but the more complex situations that you may find yourself while you are abroad. When we talk about the Cornell experience, I like to think of it in terms of a bubble. And this is why international education, there's a tension. In Cornell, you have your housing, you know where all your friends live, there's places where you can go out, and that you'll be welcomed with open arms, and that you have faculty and staff support who are interested in your general well-being. By going abroad, you are bursting that bubble. You're changing your day-to-day experience, and you are giving up part of what is that experience that you have at Cornell University in order for something new and different to develop. So first, let's go over some of the basics about studying abroad that I have to share with you. First, do your research about the country ahead of time. This is very important. Research not only the country, but the specific location that you're in, and find out as much as you can about your institutional partnerships. Ensure that you've got the right passport and visa for your trip. Those of you that are international students or traveling on international passports, you're going to want to take the extra steps to ensure that you prepare the visa documentation ahead of time. Make sure you get a round-trip airplane ticket. A one-way ticket will raise eyebrows at customs. All students have to have insurance when they go abroad. If you already have the student health insurance program, you're covered. However, it is your responsibility, if you have a different health insurance, to ensure that you've got the proper coverage. Emergency insurance. Emergency insurance is something that anyone who is traveling on Cornell business is covered with. We have a provider. That provider's name is Frontier Medics. Every member of our community has the same number. It's listed right there, 343-211. In order to activate your Frontier Medics, you call the specific phone number associated with Frontier Medics, and if needed, you can contact Cornell Police 24 hours a day, 365 days out of a year. What Frontier Medics does, what the emergency coverage does, is that in the event that you are injured or seriously ill while you are abroad, you can activate the insurance while you are abroad, and Frontier Medics will put in place protocol so that you can be taken to an area where you can receive the appropriate amount of coverage and care that you deserve and need. This is very important. So make sure you familiarize yourself with Frontier Medics. In order to get a card, either register with the travel registry if you are traveling not with a study abroad program, or speak to your program advisor. Property and trip insurance. This is not covered by Cornell. However, we have relevant links for property and trip insurance on many different websites. If you are bringing valuables, or if you have serious doubts about making the trip, make sure that you are insured. Make a copy of your passport and notate important emergency numbers, both here in the United States and abroad. All right, here are some of the basics. Keep yourself healthy, especially on that plane ride, and especially during those first few days that you will be abroad. Make sure you get lots of rest while you are on the plane. Drink lots of water, hydrate yourself, and adjust your diet while you go abroad. Those first couple of days, take it easy. You've got a great amount of time to immerse yourself in that other culture. So you don't need to worry about getting it all in at once right as soon as you get there. Here's some more basics. I think it's pretty logical to assume, as a foreigner, you're more vulnerable. You'll be easier to spot in a crowd, so please be aware of your surroundings and ensure that you spend a good amount of time just trying to figure out how to keep it low-key. You should avoid carrying large amounts of cash and valuables out in the open. Avoid large crowds, but if you do have to experience going through a large crowd, try to stay towards the periphery, preferably close to a wall or a building of some sort. Finally, if you are traveling during the weekends, communicate with others about where you're going. Next, medication. Make your prescriptions out in the generic form. Stay away from the designer label drugs because those might not be relevant while you're abroad. Note, some medications are illegal in foreign countries, so take the time to figure that out before you go. Take your original prescription bottles. Do not remove the medication from those bottles and just put them, say, in a plastic baggie, because once you get into the country and they see that plastic baggie, it'll be tossed. Have prescriptions written ahead of time. Take your medication. Just because you're in a new foreign country and you're feeling really great those first few days, it does not mean that you should go off your medication, no matter how good you're feeling. Disclose any health conditions to your program, and if you can't get the assistance that you need, contact your program advisors here at Cornell University. All right, health. It's pretty simple. If you're feeling sick, see a doctor. Don't let your health slide while you're abroad. If you get a stomach bug, all right, I like to follow the Peace Corps advice, which basically means for the next couple of days, you just eat plain white rice. Trust me, it'll work. All right, get the proper medications, visit the travel clinic at Gannett, and that's it. Here's some complex. Culture shock. Culture shock is precipitated by the anxiety that results from losing all familiar signs and symbols of social intercourse. Many of you who have traveled abroad probably have already experienced this once or twice. So if you're traveling with other Americans or other people that maybe experience this, share your experiences. But there's really 5 stages. Most people will only experience the first stage. However, the more analytical and the more critical you are as a human being, I like to think, the more stages that you'll go through because you're constantly trying to understand what is your experience in that foreign country. So at first, you think everything's fantastic. And then you start to get frustrated. You start to really be confused and perhaps even angered by the way that things are done in a foreign country. This is normal. You may be anxious and may be frustrated by this, but try to understand this is all part of the process of adjusting. And there we go. We get into adjustment. You begin to understand that difference. So communicate with people that you're traveling with or with people who are back home who know you and know you well. Reverse culture shock. This one always throws me for a loop when I'm traveling abroad and I come back. The truth is, traveling abroad is difficult because you have adjusted to a new culture. And once you come back to the United States, you feel different, but nothing's really changed. The cereal aisles are still replete with a dozen different forms of cornflakes. Your friends and family may still be going through the same issues that they were before, but you've changed. This is a sticky one, but there does exist support and help that you can receive while you come back to Cornell. Check in with your friends who traveled abroad with you. Stop by the Cornell Abroad office and talk to a program advisor. We're here to help. Okay, more complex. Traveling abroad is not gender neutral. 95% of female travelers face different concerns than men do when they travel. Politeness versus assertiveness. I like to use this example. Don't do anything that you're uncomfortable with while you are abroad just because you're abroad. If someone offers you a drink at a club because they're thrilled to meet a Cornell University student, you don't have to take it. You can be assertive and simply push it away. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself while you are abroad. Dealing with catcalls can be extremely difficult. The best advice that we can give is to simply move on. If you at all ever feel physically threatened or sexually harassed, get the help that you need. Work with your program advisors that you are working with abroad, and ensure that you're always in a safe environment, especially if you have any sense at all that your host family or any other aspects of your program is not safe. We have more info on our website. This is an important topic, and this is just the first part of the conversation. More complex. LGBTQ abroad. First of all, do your research on your destination. NYU has a fantastic study abroad guide that can help you navigate not only specific destinations, but also what is the day-to-day life like. Global Gaze is another wonderful website that we have links to on our website. Also, the Lonely Planet guides always have information about not only the country and the overall perspective in which being out inside of the country has, but also specific cities and any issues. Civil rights vary drastically across the world, so it's important to understand that the differences in your country may be very different than other countries similar to it. Ensure your safety is the utmost concern when you're going out. That means be careful when walking home late at night, or ensure that you travel in groups. Your health is very important to us at Cornell, and different standards of care will be present in the different countries that you go to. So just because it's the practice in a foreign country doesn't mean that you need to do it as well. Complex. Major issues of safety. Driving. It's simple. Don't do it. 2 Cornell University students have been responsible for the death of foreigners while they have been traveling abroad, because not only are the rules and laws different, but your experience may vary. Swimming. Be careful of fast-moving bodies of water, like rivers. In general, don't think that you're a master swimmer. Be a little bit skeptical and stick to the pool. Alcohol. Don't overdo it. Nobody likes the American lush. Drugs. Don't do them. Protests. Don't get involved. Complex. If you feel as if you're being followed, trust your instincts. Look around. And if you're in a public area, duck into some place that you can call the police. Being held up. Give up your money immediately. It's simple. And just walk away. Those of you not familiar with this, an express kidnapping is when a group of 2 or 3 or maybe just one person gets into an unmarked taxicab, and that taxicab pulls out a gun or a knife and says, "We're going to go empty out your ATM." And so they drive from ATM to ATM, and then they take that individual and drop them off in the middle of nowhere. So, how to avoid this? Do not take unmarked taxicabs, and avoid travel at night. If possible, prearrange the way that you'll get home late at night if you're going out. So that means if you know your taxi cab driver, or there's a specific driver that you're familiar with, or you have a group of friends that you're going to all walk home together at a particular time, that's the way to do it. Here's some advice from students. Consider bringing some small gifts so that you can give to your host family or other foreign nationals. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask your partner organization specific questions about what to expect from your living arrangements. Familiarize yourself with some important locations. So that means your first couple of days there, walk around, figure out where the bank is, the pharmacy, and additional places like a store. And if you're traveling to a country that has English not as their first language, learn to say those basic phrases early on. All right, we're all done. The complex. It's not so complex, and I'm very confident that all of you will be fine and travel safely back to Cornell University. But if you need anything and you have any questions, please contact me. My contact information is Alexis Santi, and you can reach me at aes357@cornell.edu, or follow us on Twitter at CU Travel Safety. Thanks a lot.